Hey guys, welcome to All Things English. Now, when it comes to English learning, or any language for that matter, building your vocabulary, in other words, learning new words, remembering these words, and using them correctly, is one of the most important skills that you need to develop. Because the truth is, the more vocabulary you know in a language, the easier it'll become for you to improve your language skills in all areas. Now, correct grammar and clear pronunciation are equally important, but I want you to think about this. It'll be far more difficult for us to communicate with limited or no vocabulary than it would be with incorrect grammar, right? So, with this in mind, let me ask you, have you ever been at a loss for words when asked the question, "So, what'd you have for dinner?" Or maybe you're in English class and your tutor asks you to describe a popular dish from your country and you just can't seem to speak because of limited vocabulary. If this is you, then keep on watching for your benefit and mine. So, today's lesson is part one of a series that I'm calling The Vocabulary of Food. In this series of lessons, we're going to cover the essential vocabulary that you'll need to have a decent conversation about food in English. Now, the thing about food, though, is that it's such a broad topic, so I decided to break it down into several parts. Types of food, kitchen vocab, cooking vocab, dining vocab, and finally, restaurant vocabulary. Today, we're going to start with the different types of food. Okay, before we start, let me remind you that this is a vocabulary lesson. So, the objective here is to learn new words, remember them, and finally be able to use them effectively in your daily life. And the best way to do that, especially when watching a YouTube video, is first sit back, relax, and enjoy. Next, get into the story, like the way you would when watching an interesting documentary. I think learning new words will be easier, much easier, if you're watching something that you're genuinely interested in, don't you think? And finally, while you're listening, please take note of all the new words that you hear. Because it's been scientifically proven that when you jot things down, especially when you actually write words down by hand, and take note with the intention of remembering these words, your subconscious takes note too. So let me start by saying that nearly everything we eat comes from either plants or animals. We have beef from cows, pork from pigs, then we have chicken from, well, chicken, fish, and other seafood like shrimp, crabs, and different kinds of shellfish. Then there's offal, also called variety meats, which are the entrails and internal organs of the animals that we eat. We also consume things that some of these animals produce, like milk from cows and goats. Then we have edible plants, or to be more specific, the edible parts of plants. In other words, vegetables, like leaves and root crops, as well as things that these plants produce, like their fruits and seeds. Okay, now it's time for a little history. Before the development of agriculture, we human beings were hunter-gatherers. Being a nomadic species, we got our food from the environment around us. We hunted and trapped all sorts of animals, invented spears and nets to catch fish. We dug up roots, gathered fruits and seeds. Then, around 10,000 years ago, agriculture began to develop when people in the Middle East, Asia, and South America began cultivating plants and domesticating animals. They cultivated grasses that produced grains like rice and wheat, which of course gave birth to the production of bread. They grew plants and trees that produced fruits and nuts. They raised and bred all kinds of animals like cattle, goats, sheep, and pig for their meat and milk, and poultry for their meat and eggs. Then, 2,000 years later, people then began making dairy food like cheese and yogurt from sheep and goat milk. As time passed, we became smarter, and so did our ways of farming. Agriculture developed so much over the years that farmers began producing more and more different types of food. And that's the reason why now we see an incredibly wide variety of food in the supermarkets and grocery stores we shop at. If you think of the food you eat on a daily basis and what you usually shop for at the supermarket or at the grocery store, chances are these are the types of food that come to mind. First up, we have meat and poultry. In this category, we have beef from cows, pork from pigs, and chicken. One of the most popular dishes that uses beef is steak. Then we have ribs from pork, and finally, the all-time favorite, chicken wings. Of course, we can't forget turkey, which is traditionally eaten on Thanksgiving, and duck, which is very popular in European and Chinese cuisine. Then, of course, we also have lamb, and if the meat comes from an older sheep, then we call it mutton. Although in some countries, mutton refers to goat meat, which is also called chevin. One of the most popular dishes that uses lamb is lamb chops. While chevin is actually a staple and a delicacy in many different cuisines like African cuisine, Middle Eastern cuisine, and Filipino cuisine, with one of the most popular dishes from the Philippines being a goat meat stew called caldereta. Next category, we have fish and seafood. One of the best-selling fish, salmon, which is often used in Japanese cuisine and sushi. Then we have crab, shrimp, lobster, and various shellfish. Next major category, we have fruits and vegetables. The most popular vegetables are lettuce, sweet potato, cauliflower, cabbage, peppers, corn, asparagus, broccoli, garlic, onions, potatoes, carrots, and tomatoes. With fruits, we have apples, bananas, peaches, plums, papayas, mangoes, berries, cherries. What else? Oranges, grapes, kiwis, pineapples, avocados, and watermelons. Next major category, we have grains, with beans and nuts included. Food made from wheat, rice, oats, cornmeal, barley, or any other cereal grains are classified in the category of grains. For example, bread, pasta, oatmeal, rice, and different breakfast cereals are examples of products that come from grains. Some of the most popular beans that are found in your local supermarket are pinto beans, black beans, chickpeas, green peas, kidney beans, and lima beans. For nuts, the most popular are definitely almonds. Then we have hazelnuts, Brazil nuts, cashews, chestnuts, walnuts, macadamia nuts, and pecans. Last but not least, we have the dairy group. Dairy products are derived from milk, which has been an important source of nutrition for people for thousands of years. And the most popular products made from milk are cheese, butter, and ice cream, a personal favorite. Okay guys, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And more importantly, I hope you learned some new words today. Remember, if you write it down, then your subconscious will too. Feel free to subscribe to this channel if you found value in this video. And that's it for now. See you guys next lesson.